Hi, I'm Caden, here with my brother,
Cal,
and you're listening to Eating W's.
eat the W.
That's a W. Let's eat one. Let's eat one. That's a W.
So, on today's episode of Eating W's, we have our Week 9 NFL preview. Now, first up, a quick update on the score for our little head-to-head game. I got 5 points last week, which relatively to my other weeks is a very bad week for me, putting me at 77. And Callan made up a little bit of ground and scored 7 points, which is impressive considering 4 of those points were the fact that he hit his lock and his upset. And then only got 3 other games correct. So that was kind of crazy to see.
I hit my specials.
And he got 63. So now our score is 77 with me to 63 with Callan. So let's just jump right into our Week 9 preview. So first up, we have the Raiders at the Giants. And I have the Raiders in this one. And Callan has the Giants. Why did you take the Giants?
Well, one, they're dealing with a terrible tragedy. I mean, it already was bad for them with the whole Gruden thing. Now they got to deal with the Henry Ruggs thing. So I think that'll be hard for them to really cope with the trouble they've already had to deal with Gruden. Now this unexpected event. It's a really bad deal for them. Very unfortunate situation for everyone involved. And I think, I didn't think they would win after the Gruden firing, but they ended up coming out and winning. Something like this is a really bad deal, and it's terrible as the Gruden thing was. This is even worse. And, so it's going to be hard for them to really, I think, focus and come out of that and play a good game. Especially because you're going to have a West Coast team going to the East Coast to play a 1 o'clock game. And that's never good.
I thought you gave up on that. I thought
just
you
for
gave
a few
up on
weeks.
that.
It was only for a few weeks.
Yeah, see.
But now I'm back.
He's pissed. No, I totally agree with that. This was a tough game to pick in my eyes. I really wasn't sure. Only reason I ended up going with the Raiders is because I just don't trust Daniel Jones. Saquon Barkley, I think he might play, but he's going to be coming back after not playing for a few weeks in a row. And a big reason I picked him is because the Raiders proved that they could go through a big publicity thing, stunt, change, big change in their organization, no matter how tragic, and still end up getting a win. And that Derek Carr to Darren Waller connection is amazing. Mm-hmm. Max Crosby has been balling out. And now, with Henry Ruggs gone, keep an eye on Bryant Edwards, who was also a 2020 wide receiver pick last year for them. I want to say he came out like the 4th or 5th round. Not sure where from. But he's been getting some reps this season, has been making the most of them. So now that he's really going to take over that wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 role, keep an eye on him. I see a big game from him in their future.
Hunter Renfrow, too. Fantastic slot receiver.
Definitely. So next up, we have the Atlanta Falcons heading to New Orleans to take on the Saints. In the Saints' first game without the eater of W's, Jameis Winston. Very sad to see. Mm-hmm. But I still have the Saints in this one, and Callan has the Falcons as his upset.
Yep, I have them as the upset because, I think the Saints will be favored, especially coming out for the win against the Tampa Bay Brady's. But I've heard that they're going to go with a quarterback platoon with Simeon and Taysom Hill.
I don't like that.
And I think this is an old John Madden saying, but if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have 0 quarterbacks. I don't like the whole quarterback platoon thing. I think you should pick one and go with it. And if one's not performing well, make the switch after the game or something like that. Playing 2 quarterbacks in one game, I don't like that idea, and I don't think it's going to work for him. It barely works in college, and I really don't see it work in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like that either. I didn't know that when picking the Saints. Even knowing that, I think I still would have picked the Saints just because overall, I think they're the better team. The Falcons have really been struggling. The only way I see the Falcons pulling out a win in this one is either if the 2 quarterback platoon just totally blows up in the Saints' face, which I could see happening, or if Kyle Pitts returns to form of what he was 2 weeks ago. Because last week he did not have a very good week, nowhere near the week he had the 2 weeks prior. Mm-hmm. Wow, that was a weird thing to spit out. But I think I could see Kyle Pitts really stepping back up to what he should be in this game. And I could see them keeping it close no matter what, but I could definitely see them pulling off a win if that happens. But for now, I got the Saints. Next up, we have a NFC North matchup with the Cleveland Browns taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. And Cal and I both have the Bengals in this one. But after losing to the Jets, man, you don't know what's going to happen. The only reason I picked the Bengals in this one is because I think that's an embarrassing loss. They're going to come out firing. They're going to be mad. They're going against a divisional opponent. They're going to want to prove themselves. They want to show that was a fluke. So I think they're going to be really fired up. And also the Browns are getting their players back, but you can just tell that they're not the team they were before all those injuries.
Well, the thing is, with Baker having that torn labrum, I mean, he's going to be hurt. He's injured for the rest of the year until he has surgery. And then once he has surgery, he's out for the season. So that's why they're holding off on it. But, I mean, it's obviously affecting his play. I mean, he's in pain. It's obviously, if you're getting thrown down on that shoulder or, you know, even the throwing motion, no, it's not affecting your throw. I mean, your whole body is used in that throw. There's no way you're not telling me he's not feeling it over here.
Oh, yeah, and even if it's not affecting the throw, it just hurts.
Right.
That wears on you eventually.
And I just think that eventually he's going to go down for the season. You know, I think it's just going to get to be too much pain tolerance to deal with. And they're going to see that he's not playing at 100%. And that 100% Case Keenum would be better than a 50% Baker Mayfield. And so I just think that, yeah, the Bengals are going to capitalize on this, on beating down a wounded team, coming off of an embarrassing loss, in a sense. You know, no offense against the Jets, but the Bengals were highly favored in that game and had the lead late in the fourth quarter. So
the only thing scarier than facing Kevin Stefanski and Baker Mayfield is facing Kevin Stefanski and Case Keenum. So we'll have to see how that plays out there. But for now,
start breaking out little skull chants.
Yeah, Case is gonna get confused and they're gonna win the game and line up.
Chants.
Everyone's gonna be like,
he's
no,
back in the Metrodome.
No,
U.S. Bank, whatever.
Wrong team. Put your hands down, Case. Put your hands down. No, but for now we both got the Bengals in that one. Next up, we have the Patriots going to Carolina to take on the Panthers, and we're back to another split here. I got the Panthers and my boy Sam Darnold, and Callan took the Patriots, and at this point, his boy Mac Jones. I think you've picked the Patriots.
Bill Belichick.
I think you've picked the Patriots almost every week.
That's because everyone thinks the Patriots are going to be a bad team. They forget that they're coached by Bill Belichick. And yes, the talent is not what it once was in New England, but the coaching talent is definitely still there. So, I think that Belichick can win any game if he just is able to coach it right, the way he wants, you know. I mean, obviously it doesn't always go the way you think it's going to unfold, but if he was able to, you know, plan it out the way that he wants to, he's a mastermind.
I definitely agree. I'm sorry, Frank keeps giving me sad looks. It's distracting.
What? Oh, what?
He keeps looking at me all sad and moving. I don't think he likes it up there.
That dog's real?
No. It was the fake one.
Oh,
I was just saying it kept looking sad.
Oh,
I don't know, it's just throwing me off. I'm sorry. But yeah, I got the Panthers in this one because I trust my boy Sam Darnold. I've been with him all year. I just got to stick with him at this point. He's given me some doubts, but he played better last week. We'll see if he even actually ends up playing this week because he entered concussion protocol.
He's in the concussion protocol. Hasn't cleared it yet.
He hasn't cleared it yet, but he hasn't been ruled out yet. If PJ Walker plays this game, I think that kind of changes my mind.
I think they have a better chance if PJ Walker plays. Because remember, Belichick and the Patriots are the one that made Darnold see ghosts in New York.
That's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Man, maybe the running back or the running quarterback is exactly what they need. Yeah, so that'll be an interesting game to watch and keep an eye on if Sam Darnold actually plays or not. Next up, we got a big one for me. The Vikings heading to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Now, I forgot to mention in last episode that the cherry on top of our, I'll just call it a game, of our very sad game against the Cowboys is that Danielle Hunter tore his pec and will be out for the entirety of the season. So that really sucks. But luckily, we got guys like DJ Wanham and Emerson Griffin to kind of fill in that hole. So hopefully our defensive line can still be decent, better than what it was last year at least. But as I mentioned last week, Mike Zimmer is really on the hot seat. And if he doesn't come out and play well against the Ravens here, his job is not looking too secure. But one thing Zimmer can do is, at least for the most part, pretty well shut down a running quarterback. He did it with Kyler, which is just, of course, the most recent example I can think of. So I think he can do it here against Lamar, and I think it's going to be a close game, of course. If we win, it will be barely, but I can see us pulling out a win.
Yeah, just for Zimmer's sake, he's got to come out and at least coach a clean game. He might not win, but he's got to have no errors. He's got to have good time management. Got to have good clock management. I mean, if he doesn't coach a clean game, I don't know. That's going to look really bad for him.
It's going to be looking rough.
So even if they don't win, he's just got to coach a clean game to show that he can still coach correctly.
So I'm just sitting here sweating about that game, as I do with every Vikings game, because that's what the Vikings like to do, is make you sweat, win or loss. I don't think I even mentioned, but Cal and I both picked the Vikings in this one. Next up, we got the...
Why? Oh, yeah. We did, huh?
Yeah. I'm really surprised he picked... When he told me that, I was like... What? Okay. But next up, we have the other NFC...
Oh, my gosh. There's a warthog in here.
We have the other NFC North matchup. Apparently, Frank, Callan's dog, got very excited about the Packers heading to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs.
He loves the Packers.
Oh, see, he's flipping out down there. But in this one, we go back to splitting. Callan, of course, took the Packers. But I took the Chiefs because I think a lot of people are talking bad about the Chiefs. And I think what a better way to prove themselves than to take out one of the top teams in the NFL.
And that's the unfortunate thing, is I did pick the Green Bay Packers. They're my guys. I think they're going to win. But I am very afraid of the Chiefs. This is a beaten down, wounded team fighting for a playoff spot right now. I mean, that's a scary team. When you got the team literally fighting to keep their playoff chances alive, they're going to try to do anything they can. Green Bay is pretty well solidified themselves at a playoff spot. I mean, not for sure yet, but they have like a 4-game lead in the North right now. I mean,
yeah, sadly, it's true. I wish it wasn't. But...
Not that I think the Packers will lax at all, but just when you it's a different animal that is backed into a corner, fighting for their playoff lives, underachieving. I mean, they could be a dangerous team, and especially because they could click on at any moment. Even though I've continuously said that the Chiefs are a bad team, they are playing like a bad team this year, but the talent's still there. They're still a good team under there somewhere. And yeah, they could show up this Sunday and shock the Packers.
Yeah. I get it's what he built the start of his career on, but Mahomes just needs to give up on the fancy jump sidearm, because it's not working out for him.
Pump fake double jump passes like he did Monday night.
It was fun to watch at first, but teams are figuring it out, so I'm sure as a Chiefs fan it's just annoying to watch
that stuff doesn't work in the NFL.
No, it's not real.
You can't do that. You really can't. He got away with it for 3 years, and he's trying to still do it, and it's not working. It's because it's not supposed to work in the NFL. No. It feels like the kid who keeps like everyone likes, but he does these really mean things and keeps getting away with them. Yeah. And it seems like every time he's gonna get what's coming to him, he gets away with it.
It just never does. It always works out for him. So I think that the Chiefs end up pulling off another really close game in this one, and Callan thinks the Packers end up pulling off that game. Next up, we got a just blanked on the division. NFC West matchup. That was sad. With the Cardinals heading to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. I took the Cardinals in this one, and Callan took the Niners. And this was really a coin flip for me, because the Cardinals seem like the better team, but they're coming off a tough loss to a really deplenished team, I guess I should say, with all the injuries you guys had. And even if they weren't coming off that loss the last time they faced, they only won by a touchdown. That 49ers defense held the high and mighty Cardinals offense to only 17 points and put up 10 of their own. Made it a really close game. And that one was in Arizona. So I think it's another super, super close game. I keep saying that, I don't know why, because all of these do look like they're going to be close games. I think the Cardinals end up pulling it off again, but I'm not going to lie. I could easily see the Niners winning this one.
I think the Niners win because, it's outside of Arizona. They got to go to San Francisco, where there could still be a monsoon there. We're not sure.
It may still be raining.
It's probably still raining there, the way it was going. And Kyler got hurt on that last play.
forgot about
So they've said he's questionable, he's day to day, but that's what they said about Dak all week too. And he ended up not playing. It was an ankle injury. They got his ankle rolled up on, and as a scrambling kind of athletic quarterback like that, I don't know. It was never much of a pocket passer. I mean, he's only like 6 feet, so a lot of them had to get out of the pocket
If even.
to see over, to see the receivers. So I just think that could be a problem for him. And with that, it's the way San Francisco's defense played, and Jimmy Garoppolo looking like he actually wants to be in San Francisco again.
Which is rare.
But maybe that was just because of the monsoon. He was just like, I don't want to be out here in the rain.
Yeah, I don't want to be playing right now just at all.
Yeah,
so let's get this done with. Is what he was really
because
thinking.
he played his ass off and beat the Bears last week. So if he has that mindset again, I think they could definitely beat the Cardinals.
I agree. I forgot about Kyler. If Kyler's out, is it Colt McCoy?
Is that their backup
If I'm not
quarterback as well?
mistaken,
Just thinking of.
I believe
I was
it'll
trying
be.
to think of who the backup was.
I believe it'll be Colt McCoy. If not, I'll put a little note on the screen and let you know who it is.
That would be
I believe
interesting.
It's Colt McCoy, yeah.
Solid backup, although kind of a different style of quarterback.
Very different style of quarterback, yes, definitely. So next up, we got the Titans heading to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. And Cal and I both have the Rams in this one. And the only reason we really want to talk about this one in depth is because it's going to be interesting to see what the Titans do without Derrick Henry in that offense. I see probably a lot more passing in that offense with weapons like A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. Because I remember at the beginning of the season, everyone was like, this offense just becomes unstoppable now with Julio Jones. That wasn't really the case. We're going to have to see how they split carries in their backfield. They have Deary Evans.
Nope, Darrington Evans went on IR. He's out for the year.
I did not know that. Wow.
Which is actually his second stint on IR. So I found out also, if you get placed on IR for a second time, you're done. There's no return. You can only be designated to return from IR once, which I had just learned this week. On that,
I didn't know that either. Okay.
I was looking to see who was the backup running back for Tennessee.
Who is it other than Adrian Peterson?
It is Jeremy McNichols.
Jeremy McNichols, I remember him.
The second round pick out of Boise State.
I forgot about him.
And they say he's just a poor man's Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
With his speed and size and all that. He just doesn't get used because I don't think they want to show him off to the NFL.
Yeah.
Because for this exact scenario, if Derrick Henry goes down, they think that McNichols will plug right in and they won't miss a step.
Yeah.
So
I picked the Rams in this one because, I mean, there's not much to say about the Rams that hasn't been said already. They're a good team. I think they win against this team who just lost their centerpiece. But what I really want to see from this game is I'm interested to see how McNichols and Peterson will split carries then. I feel like Peterson probably won't get many this week considering they just signed him, but we'll have to see next week.
Yeah, or he'll go off for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. Because that's Adrian Peterson.
Knowing Adrian Peterson, I would not be surprised
all day.
At all.
There's a reason his nickname is All Day, because he's still running all day.
He's still running, exactly.
He is the only offensive player from the 2007 draft still active.
I'm not surprised at all.
There's only one other player. Anyone know who it is? Who the other player is?
Defensive player then?
Nope.
Special teamer.
He's a special teamer. There's only one other player, and it's a special teamer.
Pick, I don't know. Brent Kern?
Nope.
I'm just trying to think of.
Mason Crosby.
Oh, I didn't know Mason Crosby was out of 07.
Yep, 07 draft.
I thought he's a lot older than 07.
No, 07 draft. So
he's got the silver fox.
That's the only 2 players left from the 2007 draft. Who would have thought? Adrian Peterson and Mason Crosby.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
They've had some battles in their days. So, for last up for this round, we got their Monday night game of the Bears heading to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. And I have the Bears as my upset, and Callan has the Steelers as his lock. So I've been taking the Bears as my upset a lot. I noticed that.
Well, yeah, because no one ever thinks they're going to win.
But the reason I'm really doing this is I am a huge Justin Fields supporter, and he is going off one of these games. I don't know when it's going to happen, but one of these defenses are going to have to face the wrath of when Justin Fields clicks and when the offensive play calling clicks with Justin Fields. The Niners almost got a piece of it and just barely outlasted on, of course, that one amazing run he had. So just that glimpse makes me kind of keep the faith up for Justin Fields and know it's going to happen eventually.
And I think
with my luck,
Nagy's coming back this week, so they'll be back to an old Andy Dalton style playbook.
So that's bad. That's actually a negative against me. With my luck, or with the Vikings' luck in general, it's going to click versus the Vikings. I mean, it's just bound to happen. But for now, I'm just going to keep taking them as an upset until then. Callan, what made you lock in the Steelers?
Because of the way the Bears have played. I mean, they cannot figure out what scheme to run with Justin Fields. They're still running a pocket passing playbook when it's Matt Nagy, but then when the special teams coach is calling plays, they go find Justin Fields' Ohio State playbook, and there's calling plays out of there. And he looked a lot better. They looked like a much better team. If not for Garoppolo's sudden
that defense steps up a little more, Bears probably win that game.
Exactly, yeah. So now that Nagy's coming back, they're going to go back to an Andy Dalton style offense. Fields is going to look like he's totally misplaced. And, so I expect Pittsburgh to just kind of roll over them.
Just realized I didn't have my water this entire time.
Yeah, it's doing, I don't know, it's up there.
Okay. But yeah, I could easily see that happening. Mm-hmm. Like I said, the only thing keeping me in with the Bears is Justin Fields. It's going to happen eventually. I just don't know when it's going to happen. So those are some of the games we want to talk about a little more. And now we are going to kick it over to our quick kick segments that we introduced last episode. So again, same idea as last episode. These are just some games that weren't quite as big as matchups, or games that we don't think there was really a ton to talk about.
Which could change.
Which could easily change. It's hard.
A game where it's in quick kicks to start the week may end up as a lead off.
It's a little
next
harder.
Week.
It's a little harder to decide how to do these for the previews. But again, just like last week, we just don't want to put out 2 50-minute episodes a week because that's a lot. So for our first quick kick, we got the Thursday night game of the Jets heading to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. And I mean, even with Callan's guy, I'll let you do it.
Magic Mike effing White Lightning.
Of course, with him playing, there's a chance that he can actually be what McAfee and Callan think he could actually be and take over Zach Wilson. But I think for now it's still pretty obvious to take the Colts. Callan and I both pick the Colts. I think it's just the safe bet.
I mean, I think that, it's not likely that this guy's really going to be the whole Brady Bledsoe scenario, and he's going to be the new Tom Brady for the Jets. That's what Jets fans are really hoping for, it seems.
That's really what they're hoping for.
But no, I don't really think that's going to be what happens. I think this guy just came in, had a, game of his life, and, teams are going to figure him out. They had no real film on him or anything.
No, not at all.
So now that coordinators have a chance to look at him and really decipher and how to break him down, I think the Colts are going to go out there and stomp him, because the Jets are a pretty young, inexperienced team, and, the Colts are pretty experienced, and especially they don't want to fall into that trap game. I don't see the Colts being a team that falls into that trap game.
Definitely. Next up, we got the Bills heading to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. We both picked the Bills. I picked it as my lock, but we didn't really talk about it because it's pretty obvious. The Bills are going to go in there and smoke the Jaguars.
It's in Buffalo. This should...
in Jacksonville.
Oh, it's in Jacksonville.
But still, that doesn't change much.
Yeah, Buffalo's way more talented than them. Urban Meyer looks out of his league. This should be a walk in the park,
Definitely.
An extra bye week, if you would.
Pretty much.
A cupcake game, if we were talking college.
Yep. Next up, we got the Broncos heading to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Cal and I both picked the Cowboys. I think even without Dak, they probably still win this game. And especially if Dak plays, they're just going to absolutely dominate.
Dak's on schedule to play. They only knew they could play the backup quarterback against the Vikings.
Because backup Cowboy quarterbacks is our kryptonite, apparently.
So they knew they had one in their pocket, and they were like, "Heck yeah, we'll rest Dak for an extra week."
the Vikings.
And now he'll come out fully healed as Dak Prescott, and that team is talented. I just wish they had a different coach.
For real.
Wish it was still Jason Garrett.
Oh, I don't know how much better that was.
I mean, I do. No, I know almost every Cowboys fan is like, no. We'll
take anybody but, actually.
When you're taking Mike McCarthy over Jason Garrett, I mean, you were in pretty bad shape. So.
That's a good point. That's rough. Next up, we got the... Oh, and I forgot to mention, we are going to start actually doing our London game of the week every week during the
London
previews
game,
episode.
which is the worst game of the week. The two worst teams that are playing, we're going to send over for those London fans to watch.
Because that's what the NFL does, is give our crap to London. So our London game for this week is the Houston Texans heading to Miami to take on the Miami Dolphins.
Two 1-7 teams. What should have been the Deshaun Watson Bowl.
The Dolphins are in a lot of the London games, I've noticed. But Cal and I both have the Dolphins in this one. You can pick either of these teams and make 30 different arguments for why either team will win. And none of them will be valid
and
just because
also
the fact that any of them could happen.
Like...
any of them could happen. Any of them couldn't happen. Davis Mills could go off. Tua could go off. Neither will probably happen.
Deshaun Watson could play.
Deshaun Watson could show up and play both offenses. Like, anything could happen in this game because nothing will happen.
So this
game.
was almost Deshaun Watson for the Dolphins starting against the Texans. They actually had a deal in place if the only requirement was if Deshaun Watson would settle his court cases, which he would not agree to. So the Dolphins owner put a squash. He stopped the deal from happening, is what I'm trying to say, because he was like, yeah, I'm not going to trade for a player that's going to end up getting suspended.
Which will probably happen, sad to say. But Cal and I both have the Dolphins in our London game. And finally, for our quick kicks, we got the Los Angeles Chargers heading to the Eagles. This one wasn't a quick kick necessarily because it's a blowout, but just because neither of these teams have a ton to say about them. Cal and I both took the Chargers in this one, and all there really is these are both teams that literally have two different teams, a Pack A and a Pack B. So it just depends on which team shows up for both of them. Which of these teams
show up. Could be both their B teams. We'll end up with a 6-3 game or a 3-3 tie, something like that. Plus, it's in Philly?
It is in Philly.
So you know what that means? That's a West Coast team going to the East Coast to play a 1 o'clock game. I'm taking the West Coast team this week.
If I would have caught that in my head, I literally wouldn't have told you where it was. I would have just let you sit on it.
But I'm taking the Chargers this week because I just figured that's what'll happen. Every time I've said that statement, I've been wrong. So I'm going to say that statement, but then take the West Coast team.
Yep. So Cal and I both have the Chargers in this one, but really just pick your poison because it could go either way. So those are all of our picks for our NFL Week 9 preview. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next week, don't forget...
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
See?
Oh, man.
Jameis is injured, and we can't even do our outro right.
W's are in shambles.
The W is broken.
God.
It's a torn W. How do you... What's a torn W?
Okay, until next week, don't forget...
Whoops. I tore the W, and it was a middle finger.
Come on, get it together.
My bad.
Until next week, don't forget
to eat the W's.